I don't like if you pour insane amounts of money into any industry, you have problems. So I don't think, I mean, money's a problem, but I don't know how you stop it. This is America. Capitalism, baby. More of your calls next. Braden Gall, Paul Feinbaum Show, ESPN Radio.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PREP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text PREP to 42424. That's PREP to 42424.
The new home for ESPN Radio is ESPN Cleveland 1013. It's time for a Don Ledford of Cleveland traffic update on ESPN Cleveland 1013. Don Ledford Chevrolet Buick GMC, located on North Lee Highway in Cleveland. Or visit donledford.com for details. Don Ledford, where we say yes. It's on-time traffic with Commander Chuck.
Good afternoon. Steady flow of traffic 24 through Moccasin Bend. All that traffic headed out towards Marion-Dade County. It's cranked up pretty good now. 153 across the dam. Trying to get back into the Hickson area. Building even more so in the construction zone. Be careful north and southbound on 75 throughout the evening as well. Over here up by East Brainerd Road. Hey, Rick's Lock and Key. Chattanooga's leading locksmith since 1973. If you get locked out, it's okay. Call Rick's Lock and Key 24 hours a day, 892-1700. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
From the Alon Planning Partners Weather Center, here's your forecast on ESPN Cleveland 1013. Visit them online at alonplanning.com or give them a call at 423-315-1441.
This weather forecast is brought to you by Whirlpool.
Thank you for choosing Whirlpool, where we are committed to being the best global kitchen and laundry company in constant pursuit of improving life at home. For more information on Whirlpool, please visit whirlpool.com.
Temperatures in the 70s will top out in the mid to upper 80s, and scattered showers and storms are back in the forecast. They'll start firing up after lunchtime and continue through sunset. Gusty winds and localized flooding will be possible. Tonight will dry out with overnight lows in the 70s, and for your Wednesday, sunshine, highs of around 90 and lower humidity. For the latest, download the Local 3 weather app. I'm Storm Alert meteorologist Clay Smith.
Your current Milligan Vane temperature is 84 degrees. MilliganVane.com.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
We tend not to think about right now, but right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. When you give to the V Foundation, 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing cancer research. Victory over cancer is there for the taking. By you. Donate at V.org. Because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
You're listening to Paul Feinbaum on ESPN Cleveland 1013. The Drive is coming up. The ESPN Cleveland 1013 lineup is supplied by Wholesale Supply Group. WholesaleSupply.us.
This is Thomas Williams with Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. Stop by today and take advantage of Bradley County's largest pre-owned inventory, or visit cleveland-nissan.com, home of the lifetime warranty.
Imagine this, handheld pizza puffs filled with mozzarella cheese and pizza sauce, topped with buttery garlic drizzle, with either 3 herbs or pepperonis. Well, it's a reality. Little Caesar's Crazy Puffs. Pick them up at 3 locations, Paul Huff, Keith Street, or McGrady Drive, or order online.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
Hey, Andy Morris here. Join me along with my co-host on The Drive, presented by Hardees, weekdays at 5 p.m. on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Cleveland and Bradley County's local sports show, weekdays at 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Don't take no style. Got a thirst for killing.
Welcome back to The Drive. Andy Morris here along with Slim Money Mason back in the house. I had to skip out on us yesterday. We had Mike Keith on, Jim Gum here with us today. Also had Mike Keith on with us yesterday. Jacob had to skip out on that one. True Bulldog right there. True Bulldog fashion.
Hey, absolutely. You know, between having to maintain a tan and, you know, not wanting to hear what, you know, the Tennessee Vols have to say. No, I'm kidding. I've heard it was a great interview. It sounded like you guys had a lot of fun doing it.
We did.
And so if you haven't heard it, you know, you can check it out on our Facebook page. Go back and listen to it. But, you know, I have a feeling that we're going to get to continue to hear from him and hear about the Vols from a pretty cool inside perspective.
Yeah, but you know what? We got your boy coming in next Wednesday. Scott Howard, the voice of Georgia football, is going to be our guest. So, hey, we're hitting the two teams that we cover or we air here on our stations, you know, Mix and ESPN. So I'm excited to hear what Scott Howard has to say about his broadcasting career, and because, you know, everyone remembers Larry Munson, but Scott Howard's been there for a while now. He's been there, so I'm excited to talk to him too.
I mean, that Ohio State call is one of the most iconic in Georgia history.
Talk about the missed field goal,
the miracle at midnight.
Yeah, I mean, right at midnight.
Yeah,
when
somebody at my party, like at my New Year's Eve party, asked if we could change the channel to drop the ball. And I looked at them. They were joking, but I looked at them like I could have shot daggers through them at that moment.
Hey, listen, I hate to interrupt the fun, fellas, but we've got some breaking news out of Atlanta Braves camp. Literally just coming out of Atlanta about a minute ago. The Braves today acquired right-handed pitcher Hunter Stratton from the Pittsburgh Pirates in exchange for outfielder Titus Dumitru. I got to get this right. Titus Dumitru, I guess. Dumitru?
I have no idea.
Listen, so we're giving that guy up. I'm fine with that. I don't even know who he is. Titus Dumitru in cash considerations and have optioned him to AAA Gwinnett. So, hey, you know, not bad. Good little deal there. But what this does, this kind of makes me assume that we're going to see Chris Sale a little bit later than sooner.
Probably, and you know, unfortunately, it wasn't Paul Skeens, but
I know you could have made a lot of Braves fans listening right now like really sit on the edge of their seat. You could have been like a pitcher from Pittsburgh.
Paul, wait a minute. Oh, no, not him.
Yeah, just a little false advertising there. But listen, so Chris Sale was moved to the 60-day DL.
Really?
So
I hadn't heard that.
So what that means is it's probably going to be late August when we see him make his return.
You know, I'll be honest with you. When they said the 15-day IL, I'm like, 15? I said, I heard it. I always thought it took longer than that to recover from, you know, cracked or broken ribs. And apparently it does. But, man, 60, that's a long time.
Yeah, it was at least a month before I started feeling better.
And you weren't pitching.
Yeah. I mean, like, it was a month before, like, I didn't start noticing, like, some irritation, like, around my ribs just from breathing and walking around. So, you know, it's definitely not an easy thing to come back from. And then you think, like, one of the funniest things my wife says is, why can't they go back out there and pitch again tomorrow? I don't understand. And I'm like, I don't think you realize not only, like, are we talking about how many pitches they've thrown in the game, but then how many times they throw warming up in between innings. All of those things accumulate. So I couldn't imagine with a cracked rib having to go out there and even just throw, you know, long toss.
Well, you know, a lot of girls that played fast pitch softball, especially that pitch, they can pitch day after day after day because that motion is so natural. A pitcher throwing overhand, that's such an unnatural motion. So your shoulder just could not, listen, we know back in the day, Cy Young, for crying out loud, 511 wins and Lord knows how many complete games, but those guys weren't throwing 100 miles an hour. They were throwing probably max 75, 80. And listen, we don't know how many pitches they were throwing, but, it's just you just can't do it. There's no way.
Hey, listen, we're going to have a lot of fun on the show today. Talking about some wear and tear, Jacob's heart is going to have some wear and tear after I crush him with my starting five. We're doing the NBA all-time starting five. Jacob's over here rolling his eyes because he texted me today. I'm just going to give you some inside conversation.
You text me.
Let you know what we're doing.
Yeah, whatever.
And so the response from Jacob was best. He went ahead and told me his team, said best team, can't beat it. So I take that as a challenge, Jim.
I do too. I'm sure we're going to have some that are similar to each other. I don't know if you guys have Michael Jordan, but I sure as heck do.
I don't know how you leave that guy off the list.
Leave him off the list. But we'll see how many guys that we have on each other's teams. But listen, I love this doing the all-time NBA. You can't go wrong. There's so many great players over the last 70, 80 years. Now, I'm not going to have George Mikan from the Minneapolis Lakers on, but I'm going to have some guys that played a few years back.
Well,
so.
I want to be clear, and from what Jacob sent me, I think he and I are on the same page with this, and we want our listeners to interact as well with this. Call us, text us, yeah. Volunteer Ritapest phone text line 423-749-1013. You can also listen, there's a post on our ESPN Cleveland Facebook page. You can comment on that, interact with us that way. We'll talk about it on the show today. But Jacob and I believe, are on the same page because what I'm trying to do, and when I looked at his players and what position they were playing, I'm not trying to put the NBA's best at each position of all time. I'm trying to put together the team that's going to win on the court. I'm trying to put together the best team. So, listen, it depends what kind of ball you're trying to play. If you're wanting to play fast, I don't know if Shaq's going to be your center. I don't know if you're wanting to play that way. Yeah. So it's up to each individual's interpretation.
And I did a point guard, a shooting guard, power forward, small forward, and then I did a true center.
Same here.
That's how I did it. But like I said, it doesn't matter. I still think my team's gonna just ball. I think I would beat just about any team out there.
Listen, so I threw this idea around, and I'm about to say it on air here, so we may just have to do it. Thought about surprise phone calling some people and saying, hey, what's your starting five? NBA all time. Who's your starting five? No heads up, just calling them.
Yeah, well, it'd be my luck. Be our luck. You catch someone that's using the restroom. Well, yeah. It's echoey in there.
Who knows? Might call one of our buddies. Might be at the beach. Might be a few deep. I don't know. You never know what you might run into with that.
Yeah, hey. That's cold calls, man.
Yeah,
cold calls.
That's it. So, really excited to talk about that today because when it comes to talking sports history, I know that's something that we really enjoy doing here on this show.
We've done this with football, college football. I'm sure we'll do it with the NFL and baseball. Listen, I could sit here and do the all-time baseball, and I could do one this month, and a month later or 2 months later have 5 different guys on my all-time team because it does vary. I do have a few guys that are on my all-time baseball team each and every time. But, there's so many great players, for crying out loud.
Yeah, and the hard thing about basketball is there's only 5. There's so many guys that, I could have added to this list. I can go ahead and let this one out because he's not on mine, but he's one of my favorite players ever, and it's Bird. I didn't put Bird on there, and he's one of my favorite.
Mistake number 1.
He's one of my favorite players of all time. When it comes to his attitude about the game, what he was able to do, all of it. I love watching his highlights, but he didn't make it into my 5 rotation.
What I love about Larry Bird is when you hear other players talk about Bird, other NBA guys that played against him, because when he first came into the league, everyone had this mindset, slow white guy, he can't. And they said, first time they're out there, this guy can play. This guy can play. And Larry Bird, and I love the fact that Larry Bird sometimes would say, I'm going to do this, and you can't stop me. And he would do it, and they didn't stop him. Stuff like that. Those stories are so priceless. I love hearing them.
And listen, you talked about him coming into the league from Indiana State.
Right.
There was a guy who vouched for him from the get-go, and it was Magic Johnson.
That's right.
Magic Johnson told everybody, this guy's a real deal. So, and I kind of do this periodically. Like, I'll look at different sports, not just NBA, but like who are my top, who's on the list. And like for the longest time, I had Magic Johnson above our guy Michael Jordan for a long time. Now, once Jordan continued like what he was doing, and obviously greatest player of all time. But I looked at it from the perspective of versatility.
Oh, there's
Magic Johnson.
Nobody's more versatile than Magic
Johnson could play center. He
And
could play the 5,
And he did.
or he could play the 1.
Yep.
And he did it on the biggest stage in the NBA Finals.
That's right.
And he was successful. So, it starts. I'm a Michael Jordan guy. I got a Michael Jordan jersey. Couldn't find it. Was going to wear it today. Couldn't find it. But
is it a Wizard or a Bulls?
No, it's not a Wizards. It's not Chicago Bulls. But so. For me, it starts around Magic Johnson. Like, I know the end of his career, what a lot of people, younger listeners, saw. Not the Magic Johnson that was top peak of his career, NBA mid '80s. Magic Johnson is the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like watching Michael Jordan in a Wizards jersey. He wasn't the same Michael Jordan. Listen, we've said this a million times on this show. Father Time is undefeated. Every great athlete reaches that point where, like, they just can't do it anymore, and it's so frustrating. And listen, we're going to see Aaron Rodgers play this year for the Steelers, and I'm almost guarantee you he's going to look horrible.
I don't know.
I just don't believe in him anymore.
They're building around him, man.
I don't care.
They're putting guys around him.
I don't think he's the same guy that we saw 10 years ago in Green Bay. Well, I know he's not that guy. And I still think he's going to have some really poor games for the Steelers this year.
I think he has a better year than last year. Coming off of an Achilles injury like he was coming off of, normally that bounce back year is the worst year for most of the people coming off of it. The year after that, you see a step forward. You see they're more comfortable in their body and all those things. I think you see a better year than, because what I saw with him and Devontae Adams with the Jets,
it was sad.
It was sad, and like the fact that Devontae Adams, in my opinion, like, he was very unhappy with the Raiders. I get that. But then he went on like a smear campaign, and he was like, what I've got going here with the Jets is better. I'm like, brother, no, it's not. Like, y'all look awful. Y'all look just as bad as we do, and we don't have, it was whatever. But I think coming back from that, I think Mike Tomlin's a great coach. I think, he's going to feel a little bit better. And I think it's that last year where you're kind of like, I'm leaving everything out on the table here.
Yeah, and getting back to the NBA, and listen, I know that not everyone sitting around here is a LeBron James fan. LeBron James in 2024, 2025 is not the same guy he was 10 years ago. You can see the decline. In fact, I mean, for crying out loud, he signed for, $52 million to go one more year. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? But he's not the same player he is. And I don't like to see athletes hang on too long. Listen, I watched Johnny Unitas play the last few years of his career. He looked like a shell of himself. And then, and I've seen this time and time again, guys that hang on a couple years too long, and then you got that mindset in you, like that's the last thing you remember was that. And I don't want to do that.
So when I think about that, there's a couple guys. I'm gonna transition over to baseball for a second. And as a big-time Braves fan, Andres Galarraga and Julio Franco are two guys that come to mind. These guys played well into their 40s. Mm-hmm. And did some big. Andres Galarraga came back from cancer and's hitting bombs, man. Like, and being old on top of it. So, like, I've always, even guys like Tom Brady, who at the end of his career, he was still good. He was still solid. Not what he was.
Right, exactly.
But I was never a Tom Brady guy. Didn't like him at Michigan. Didn't really know him that well at Michigan because he wasn't that relevant at Michigan.
He didn't play a whole lot at Michigan.
And early in his career, like, because, listen, I'm Peyton Manning fan. I've always liked Peyton Manning, and that was kind of the good versus evil matchup there. And so a lot of people were like me and didn't like Tom Brady. I found myself rooting hard for that guy at the end of his career. And so I always pull for those guys, those older guys, because you only get to play these games. You only get to have fun and be a professional for a limited amount of time. And those guys that can find that magic to keep it going, I'm big time in for them. But what I like are the organizations that manage them properly in those situations.
Right.
What I don't like is seeing a Rodgers getting rolled out there and not having necessarily the line that he needed, not having the team that he needed, coming back from an injury, basically being thrown to the wolves. I don't like that. It makes you feel bad for those guys, like you were saying, Jim.
Yeah, I remember a guy, and I grew up with Tom Seaver was my favorite pitcher in the 70s. When he was with the Mets, he was tremendous. He got traded to the Reds. He was really good. But he ended his career like with the White Sox, and he was not the same guy. And I hated it for him, and I hated it for anyone that was a Tom Seaver fan. But I've seen that time and time again, and it's these guys that hang on for a year or two too long. I get it. The money's so good, and if they're willing to let you hang on and pay you the big money, who wouldn't want to do that? But it's that lasting memory. To me, I'd rather see a guy hang him up like a Barry Sanders. We never saw Barry Sanders bad.
We missed some of his prime years.
He retired when he still had several years still left in the tank. Those are the type of guys that I'm like, the lasting memories of Barry Sanders are like, he was awesome. He was awesome, even if it was his last year.
Barry Sanders, Jim Brown, those are two guys a lot of people missed some of their prime years because they retired at the top of their game.
What, Megatron?
Yeah, same with him.
Same deal.
So, hey, quarterback, Stanford, Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
Same deal.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley's talked about, like, he might be one of those people that in the next couple of years he just decides that he's done and hanging it up. Like, it seems like he's one of those guys that wants to be elite his entire time in the league, and when he feels like he can't be anymore, that he's going to be done.
Hey, health-wise, maybe not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
the guys like Frank Gore, those are unicorns, man.
Right.
Yeah, those guys that have a long career where they're high, top level the entire time, not a lot of those happen anymore because these guys get so banged up.
Yeah, the person that always like astounded me that he could continue to roll out every year was Adrian Peterson.
Oh, yeah. And here's a good example of someone whose career just went spiraling down fast. Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, he was the great running back first 4 or 5 years with the Dallas Cowboys. These last couple years, he does not look like the same
He put
guy.
on too much weight. Let's be honest.
He's just not as good as
he's a different guy.
He is.
Yeah, I also think that was one of the best offensive lines he was running behind in Dallas.
For
like
sure.
Zach Martin down there, baby.
Yeah, I think they were just stacked there, and then I also think that the defensive line talent in the past 10 years has just gotten so much better.
Oh my gosh.
It's faster for sure.
It's
It is,
becoming
man.
harder for us to see. Yeah, I feel like that's why there's kind of been a shift in the game a little bit where we're talking about the Justin Jeffersons all the time. We're talking about the Jamar Chases. We're talking about those Tyreek Hills because you don't see, like, I think about the most dominant season for a running back is Chris Johnson at Tennessee Titans.
He was awesome.
He was awesome. And then all of a sudden, he just wasn't quick enough to outrun all those people. And I think it's because the defensive side of the ball got faster.
Yeah. And a lot of that is true.
That's a good comp.
And guys that are smaller like that, they can only take so many pounds. Like Derrick Henry can take it because he's such a big physical guy. Smaller guys like that, man, it takes its toll on those smaller guys. And Chris Johnson, obviously, out of his career was much smaller. But, boy, he did have a couple dynamic seasons in Tennessee.
Hey, so, again, I want to get this breaking news out because I butchered the heck out of it the first time I did it. Big news out of Atlanta for the Atlanta Braves. They've moved Chris L to the 60-day IL, so going to give him some extended time to recover. And with that, acquired right-handed pitcher Hunter Stratton from the Pittsburgh Pirates in a trade for high A outfielder. So this was a guy pretty low in the Braves organization that they're giving up, but a talent. The Braves felt like he was a good talent. So, giving up quality for quality here. But Titus Dumitru, I believe is his name, who's 22 years old, and they also gave up some cash. So that the Braves optioned Stratton to AAA Gwinnett. They're going to get him ready. Obviously, right now, Didier Fuentes is up. I would imagine that they'll kind of toggle those guys back and forth for some solid starts.
Yeah, that sounds like the plan there. And obviously, Atlanta feels like they're still in this. And I'm as someone that, we talk a lot about the Braves here. You don't want to be a seller. You want to be a buyer. And listen.
Sounds like they're going to be.
They need to be. Listen, their fans demand a better product on the field than what they've been getting. And I have a feeling somewhere in the second half of the season we're going to see a stretch where the Braves go like 12 out of 17 or something like that and get themselves back into the hunt for at least a wild card. I really believe that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Hey, I said this at the top of the show. We're in July now. Can you believe that? It is July 1st. Yeah. You know what that marks in sports, right?
Oh, yeah.
What is it, Jim?
It's Bobby Bonilla Day.
Bobby Bo Day. Listen, so the way the Mets set this up with Bobby Bonilla, who
Or I heard a guy call him Bobby Bonilla one time. I kid you not.
Yeah.
On ESPN National, Bobby Bonilla. I'm like, dude, come on.
you got to understand those Spanish phonetics there, the way that works, right?
Yeah.
But Bobby Bo, man, this guy spent some time in a Braves uniform. It's toward the end of his career. Yeah. But just an elite talent, so much so that the New York Mets, this is why they met. This is why we throw so much shade at the Mets. They thought it was smart at the time.
Yeah.
To set up a little delayed payment plan with Bobby Bo, where they pay him $1,193,248.20 every July 1st. Every July 1st until 2035. Guy's been retired for what? 15, 20 years now?
Yeah. When you think of Bobby Bonilla, what team do you associate him with? I associate him with the Pirates.
Pirates, yeah. That's what I was going to say.
I know he played with multiple teams. To me, he's a Pirate, but it's the Mets that are paying him.
I'll be honest. It's the Mets for me because of this.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are like that.
It's funny because as a sports fan and as a Braves fan, I'm rocking my Braves jersey today.
Who you wearing today?
Acuna.
Attaboy.
But as a Braves fan, this is just so funny to me. It just cracks me up every time I think about it. We're going to do this for another 10 years, folks.
I know.
It's going to be sad when it's over.
It will. It'll be kind of depressing when it's over because, my whole life, this has basically been going on.
Maybe the Mets will do everybody a solid and just be a good sport about it and say, listen, Bobby Bo, we're going to pay you $10 every July 1st after this.
I was about to say $1 or something,
yeah.
just to continue.
$1.20.
Or maybe they take the amount of wins that they got the year before, and that's what they pay him.
We're talking about...
We're going to pay you $42.
Him and Barry Bonds, when they were together with the Pirates, you talk about a 1-2 punch, man. Those two that were dynamic, and that's the thing that you don't see with the Pirates. They don't have guys like that, especially two guys like that. But, yeah, to me, he's a Pirate, and he'll always be a Pirate for me.
Yeah, listen, along with that, we talked about the Pirates, talked about the Mets in this conversation with Bobby Bonilla. Brought this up yesterday, got to bring it up again. The Mets were swept by the Pirates over the weekend, and they are 3-13 in their last 16 games, and were outscored in that span 105-49. Gotta love it. Gotta love the Mets metting.
I mean, they got just annihilated in all three games. All three games were just no contest, man. It's almost I can't believe that. They were doing so well in April and May, and they just fallen off a cliff since then.
Well, I cautioned people because their bullpen and just their rotation in general was pitching out of their mind, through that first stretch of the season. But you looked at their hitting stats, and it just wasn't all there. Juan Soto's the dude. He showed us in our series what he's capable of. He is a dude. But then really after that, the names are there, but the stats this year aren't. You think when everybody thinks Pete Alonso, they think power and hitting the ball over the fence, but he's not having the best year in the world. They're just not. Lindor's not having a great year. They're kind of struggling with the bats, and Met fans have started to realize that.
Who's that sound like?
I mean, us.
Yes, sounds like honestly, the Atlanta Braves.
It really does. It sounds like us to a core, and I feel like we've managed it a little bit better. We haven't, we're all frustrated as Braves fans with the product that we're getting at the moment. I ran into somebody at Goodwill today that was like, I'm a Phillies fan. We got you. I was like, yeah, you did. I said, but we did get to play the Mets for a while, and that was fun. And he started laughing. But, it's... I just think we have the chance to turn things around. I don't know that the Mets, especially with all the injuries that are occurring, I think this may be a landslide for them.
And their pitching just is a mess right now.
Yeah.
It is an absolute the New York mess. And I heard people saying that earlier today, the New York mess, and they are a mess on the pitching side of things for sure.
Hey, listen, we're about to head to break, but I want to get this out there again today. Fun show today, doing some exciting stuff. We're naming our all-time starting 5 NBA.
And by the way, Steve Hartline gave us this idea.
Yeah.
Apparently him and some of his family members were doing this, and he said it was like a real fun activity. I said, yeah, we've done stuff like this, but this is a good time to do it.
So I fully expect Steve to either come on the show today or to text us or let us know what his starting 5 is. But again, we want you to interact with us. ESPN Cleveland TN1013 on Facebook. There's a post on there. You can post it on there. You can also text us or call us on the Volunteer Ridipest text phone line 423-749-1013. What is your all-time starting five? And going to be some fun conversation when we come back. Also, got to talk a little college. We'd be doing the show a disservice if we didn't talk some college football, some college branding, some things like that stuff going on. Maybe a little Pac-12, I don't know. When we come back right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
This is John Davis, the trade-in man for Kia of Cleveland, and I need your help. We're under construction, and I've got cars everywhere. I've got them in the grass, down the street. We need to get these cars where they belong, in your driveway. So we're rolling them out of here at whatever price it takes. Bring us any trade in any condition, and we will give you $7,000 more than Kelley Blue Book fair value toward the purchase of any new Kia, Telluride, Sorrento, or Sportage. Yes, $7,000 more than your trade is worth. Are you a credit challenged car buyer? That's okay. At Kia Cleveland, our lenders will say yes to you and yes to your situation. Remember, I'll be any deal from anywhere in Georgia, Tennessee, or Alabama. So if you want $7,000 more than your trade is worth, come see me, John Davis, at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee, where trading your car is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Looking for the dealer who's gonna give you more. Kia of Cleveland Superstore.
Offer subject to lender approval. Expires month end.
KiaofCleveland.com.
The difference between an average morning and a Hardee's morning is hearty goodness that lasts till lunchtime. Like Hardee's smoked sausage biscuit, split Hillshire Farm smoked sausage on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. And our Frisco breakfast sandwich with cherrywood smoked bacon or ham on toasted sourdough. Hardee's, goodness in the making. Download the app and join my rewards for special offers. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
Hip or knee pain holding you back? There's a new reason to feel hopeful. Dr. Andrew Carlone is now part of the team at Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics in Cleveland. He brings advanced training in total hip and knee replacement, including minimally invasive techniques that get you back on your feet faster. Let Cleveland's orthopedic experts help you live your best life. Call 423-624-2696 or go to sportmed.com to book your visit now.
Magnolia Dental Center of Cleveland wants to welcome you to the Magnolia family, a local dental clinic that uses their God-given knowledge and skills to bless our community through dentistry. From checkups and cleanings to dentures and all-on-4 dental implants, they can help you feel healthier and more confident. Conveniently located at 2190 Chambliss Avenue, join the Magnolia family today. Call 423-476-3307 for your free exam and x-rays. Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Visit milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN in Cleveland. Hope everyone out there is having a good Tuesday. A little warm, but it could be worse. Hey, Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical school technicians, $22 to $27 an hour. Excellent benefits beginning day one, medical, dental, vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com on Bobby Bonilla Day. You gotta love it.
Bobby Bo.
love it. I think it's great, man.
Bobby Bo. Listen, so talking some Major League Baseball stuff before we transition over to some college news. Talked about it yesterday. Dave Parker, the Cobra, a guy who was, when you think about him, you think Pittsburgh Pirate.
Another Pirate.
Exactly. Passed away over the weekend from complications from Parkinson's disease. He was 74 years old. Obviously a big part of that 1979 World Series team, the We Are Family Mets, Willie Stargell. Just you think about those guys and that team. Just,
you know who my favorite player was on that team?
Who? Guy
probably weighed no more than 150 pounds. Kent Tekulve. He was a skinny relief pitcher, threw like a submarine pitch. He was the ultimate not looking like an athlete who could flat out bring it. He was a great reliever for the Pirates.
One of the probably most spoken of teams of the past. They still get a lot of credit. Speaking of, also this season, I don't know if you knew this or not. I'm sure you did to some extent, or if you've seen any Red social media. The 50th anniversary, the Big Red Machine.
The Big Red Machine, the 75 Reds, 108-54.
Phenomenal, man.
At 76, they won 102 and lost 60 back-to-back World Series championships.
By the way, no notes for Jim Gum now. He's telling you.
And let me tell you something. Following the 1976 World Championship team, they made the biggest mistake of that franchises for over 10 years. They traded Tony Perez to the Montreal Expos. They elevated Dan Dreesen to first base. And Tony Perez was the heart and soul of that team. I'm telling you, had they not made that decision and they'd have kept him, but by the way, they acquired Tom Seaver in '77. Had they kept Tony Perez, I'm convinced the Reds would have won 3 consecutive World Series. But we'll never know, of course.
Yep. That's a Yankee stat. You do that, you're at Yankee level. And listen, I'm not a New York Yankee fan, but they set the standard for that. The three-peat, the consecutive championships. And
here's a little stat, by the way, for the Reds. The last time the Cincinnati Reds lost a World Series game was Game 6 of the 75 World Series. That's Carlton Fisk hitting that home run, waving it fair, if you remember that.
Yeah.
He waved it fair. The Reds swept the 76 World Series against the Yankees. Of course, the Reds won Game 7 against the Red Sox. They won all 4 games in 76. They won all 4 games in 1990. The Reds are on a 9-game World Series winning streak.
It's wild.
Just an FYI.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Reds not having a bad year this year. They could be in the mix.
You know what?
They could.
The Reds do this to me every year. They'll be in contention. Something will happen. A key guy will get hurt. They'll end up winning 80, going 80 and 82, miss the postseason. And I'm the ultimate pessimist when it comes to the Reds. And they've done this to me for 10 years in a row now. So you become accustomed to it.
Well, listen, I want to point something out. You asked me, you said, do you remember that? I said yes. Now, I'm well documented is what I am. I don't remember
I know
79 because, listen, I wasn't alive yet. But I love the history of the game, NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA. So I love talking about it, and I'm very well studied when it comes to that stuff. So that's why I said yes, for clarity.
I love the history of Major League Baseball, the history of college football. I do. I think those two sports have got the best history of the two major sports, college football and Major League Baseball. NFL has good history. So does college basketball, the NBA. They're good, but the history of college football and the history of Major League Baseball, to me, are way above the other sports.
So speaking of some college history, in the recent history, the Auburn Tigers have been an Under Armour school.
For the last 20 years, I believe.
Yeah.
God, it's been that long.
So when you think Under Armour schools, traditionally, you think Maryland. That's where it all started. You think the Naval Academy. Think Navy. They're big-time Under Armour school.
Notre
Dame, as of recent years. Mm-hmm. And
Northwestern, I think, is Under Armour.
Northwestern is. But really, Auburn, when you talk about recent success, Kick Six, national title, not all too long ago, right?
Yeah.
So played Florida State for a national title, like
Cam Newton.
Yeah. So they were kind of the torch carriers for the Under Armour brand. Just being honest.
Are they the only
Wisconsin's Under Armour school?
Is Auburn the only SEC team that's Under Armour?
South Carolina, I think, is.
Are they?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So, but with this move, Auburn now officially a Nike school. The way I view this, because I felt like, and I'm a big fan of Under Armour. Before Notre Dame was an Under Armour school, we were an Adidas school, and I'm thinking, like, dude, I'd love to be an Under Armour school.
I love Under Armour.
I do too.
Clothing, I do.
So the way I look at this is that you're following Big Brother. You're doing what Bama's doing. That's the way I look. I'm sorry. You had a good thing going. You were the team of the brand. I'm not an Auburn guy. I don't really dislike them, but I got them just a little bit above LSU, if that tells you anything. I'm not an LSU guy. And I guess if the dollar signs are right, shout out Bobby Bonilla, if the dollar signs are right, you do it. And I understand that, and if that's the reason, but why you got to follow Big Brother? Why you got to do what everyone else is doing? Why you got to do what the Roll Tide, what they're doing?
I genuinely think kids actually care about this.
I think they do too.
From a recruiting standpoint, I genuinely think they care about whether you're in Nike or not. Like down to the gear that you get, because I mean, you think about it. Like, have you ever looked at like the swag packs that like guys get before like a bowl game or stuff like that?
Yeah.
Like, that's the stuff that they're wearing probably for the next 6 months, and then they'll have something else rotated into their lockers and get to. But I think they genuinely care. The shoes, the endorsements. I think they care about it, and I think that's probably why Auburn decided to do it.
Let me ask you guys this. I don't know the answer to this. You got schools like Florida, Michigan, North Carolina. They have the Jumpman.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
What determines you become a Jumpman school instead of the Nike swoosh?
I think it's just the desire to do it.
Yeah, I'll never understand. Now, here's the thing. Great marketing for Michael Jordan. Great job.
I mean, they're Nike teams. They're Nike schools, but they have the Jumpman logo.
Yeah, I just, unless you put like a football up there on the Jumpman instead of a, like, I just don't get it. Like, I don't either. It's a basketball logo on a football jersey.
Exactly.
Like,
Listen, we got some Florida fans that were so excited.
Yeah, because,
about doing that
again, because like gear wise, like it's cool to have that, but then it still just doesn't make any sense to me.
But see, that's the thing. If I were a Florida fan, if I were a Michigan fan, which I promise you I am not. Let's be clear on that, right, Jim Gunn? We're not Wolverine guys here on the drive. But if I were a fan of one of those teams, like for me personally, for my personality, I love Michael Jordan. I think the brand is awesome. I don't rock that stuff. It doesn't relate to me. It's not me. So I don't wear the Jordan stuff. So like I guess if you're into that, you're excited about it. But if I'm a Florida football fan, a Michigan football fan, like I would rather wear the Nike gear. But going back to Auburn, going from Under Armour, I think Under Armour historically not in the same clubhouse as Nike. I'm not that stupid. I get it. But Under Armour is a pretty poppin' brand right now. It's pretty good stuff, pretty good quality.
I like it better than Adidas.
And I consider myself on that borderline where, listen, I'm not 20 years old anymore, but I stay in style. I like to make sure I'm staying with the times. There's nothing wrong with Under Armour. They've got, when it comes to athletic stuff, it's awesome. When it comes to some cool gear, now, are they a little behind in the shoe game? A little bit. It's getting better, though. It's gotten a lot better. Steph Curry's been a huge part of that. But I just don't understand needing Nike that bad. A lot of kids like Under Armour.
All right, listen to this, guys. Here, I got the new Phil Steele magazine out today. I just wrote down the top 25. Here's over the top 10. Listen to this: Penn State, Nike; Clemson, Nike; Notre Dame, Under Armour; Texas, Nike; Ohio State, Nike; Georgia, Nike; Alabama, Nike; Oregon, Nike; Oklahoma is number 9. They're Nike. Michigan is number 10. They're Jumpman. That's Nike. So you got 9 out of the top 10 schools, and at least in the Phil Steele, are Nike schools. You got one Under Armour. Nike dominates collegiate athletics.
They do.
It's on Major League Baseball. It's on the NFL now.
They do.
Nike dominates at least American athletics. Now, I don't know where they stand worldwide. I know Adidas is huge in Europe, but Nike's making their input even in Europe.
Yeah, to me, at the end of the day, like if you can give yourself a competitive advantage, like your contract's up with Under Armour, the dollar signs are pretty equal, and if kids are actually coming to you and saying like, yeah, Under Armour is nice, but like I prefer Nike. Like if it's going to give you an advantage, I'm taking it. That's why like when Tennessee fans.
So you believe that it's that big of an advantage? I have a hard time thinking that it is.
I hate to. It's just another thing to think about. Like, I genuinely think that 18-year-old kids care about the swag that they're wearing, and it comes into conversation. I don't think, at the end of the day, if a team is offering me $8 million to come play and they're an Adidas school, I don't care what I'm wearing. Like that's not the issue. But like, if a kid. Kids like think about things like shoes. Like I've become a big shoey over the past couple of years, and like I genuinely like Jordans. I genuinely like Air Forces. My shoe game is Nike.
Let me ask you guys this, and I haven't even thought about this. It just popped in my head as we're sitting here. Let's say, we got all these NIL deals. Let's say you've signed with Georgia, and the number one quarterback in the country is going to come play for Georgia, but Adidas signs him to an NIL. What shoes are you going to wear on the field?
I think there is something within the contracts that don't allow them to do it.
Yeah, unlike the pros, like if you're a Nike guy on an NFL team, or if you're an Adidas guy on the NFL team, you're allowed to wear that Adidas stuff because that's your contract. That doesn't correlate to college. You have to wear the team gear.
You have to wear
what
the
they
team
supply.
gear. Okay.
Yeah.
I think once you go to that school, if you go to a Nike school, you're only allowed to contract with Nike.
Okay.
So now, if you're talking about like a basketball player that's looking to sign like a shoe endorsement, I wouldn't mind going somewhere like that has Adidas or that has Under Armour, because if you're really, really good, they might be willing to pay you some serious money down the line.
Well, they may sway you towards certain schools that they have an affiliation with. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do think it is a slight competitive advantage because I genuinely think kids think about that stuff. Just being around 13-year-olds every day, I hear them talk about that crap, and they're the older they get, they still kind of stick with that stuff. I'm thinking about Tennessee fans. They about uproared over the fact of the thought of going back to Adidas. Just the idea of it.
Is that still out there?
That's gotten cold, hasn't it?
Well, but probably because the Tennessee Mafia, the Twitter Mafia,
Vol
or
Mafia,
X Mafia, whatever they call themselves.
They did with Grace Shano.
Exactly. As soon as they heard it, they
Don't
probably
get me started on that.
They probably had more complaints to the University of "do not do it" that it just disappeared into thin air.
That's hilarious.
So it matters to some people. I mean, I don't necessarily know why. I guess all my teams are Nike, so I don't have that.
Well, I'll say this: there was a point in time where Adidas run DMC and Adidas and the the jumpsuits, those things were kind of running the show at one point.
They were.
But times change, and the kids change with the time. So, I guess I'll take Jacob's point with a grain of salt.
So
he normally does.
Hey, listen, we got to get into this starting five conversation. Once again, we want you to be involved in the conversation. Hit us up on the volunteer text line, volunteer Ridipest text line 423-749-1013. But NBA all-time starting five, trying to put together the best teams, not the best at each position where you go look at a stat line. I'm putting a team together that I want to win. All right, so Jim, I'm gonna let you kick us off. I know you want
to give all five.
We can go by position. You want to go by position?
Okay, let's do guard first. Okay, my two guards are Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan. Those are my two guards.
And listen, so
Magic you could put him at forward, but
yes.
I put him as a guard.
So, other than Jacob completely showing his hand, terrible poker player, showing his hand earlier today, texting me.
I didn't know that
we didn't communicate
for the show. I thought it was just a question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So other than Jacob's blooper there, just a complete, keeping our hand close. And so there's been no communication on this. At the 1 and 2, I've got Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan. So Jim Gum and I are on the same page there. So the reason, and I'm going to speak for Jim here, and if I'm putting words in your mouth, you cut me off and tell me, Jim, but Magic Johnson at the 1 is undefeated.
He's the best.
There's no getting around it.
The young Magic Johnson, the young guy in his 20s.
They could run the floor.
Magic Johnson in his 20s, he's the best I ever saw handling a basketball.
All right, so I don't have him on my list. Yep, I don't. I'm going at the point guard position. I'm going Steph Curry.
That's a shooter, though.
The best shooter of all time.
It's a shooter.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
So the one thing that he's going to lack, in my opinion, is defense. But then I'm going doubling down at the other guard position. I'm going Kobe.
Kobe, I strongly considered Kobe Bryant because I always moved Magic to a forward position, but I left him at guard.
So this is where I struggled. Obviously, Jim and I both having Magic and Jordan at the 1 and 2. So I thought about putting Jordan at the 3. And so ultimately for me, what it came down to was Kobe Bryant and Larry Bird. And when it comes to competitor, outside of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant's the best competitor. People refer to the Mamba mentality because of Kobe Bryant.
He was awesome, man.
So obviously showing my hand a little bit here, I left Kobe out of my starting five, and that was really hard to do.
Me too.
It was very hard to do. So going to the 3, small forward, I went Larry Bird.
I did too. I went Larry Bird as my small forward. What about you?
I went MJ.
Okay.
So I've got it.
So you got Curry,
Steph, Kobe, MJ.
That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid.
All right, power forward. I've got LeBron James. I know you guys are anti-LeBron guys, but that's who I've got.
Yeah, it's really hard to leave him off this list. But like when I'm talking about putting a team together, like a starting five, it was easier to leave him off just because I can justify it with having Kobe and MJ at your 2 and 3. My 4 is Tim Duncan.
Oh, he's great.
Like you're so
the big fundamentalist.
We're going to put him in the paint, and we're going to pair him with somebody here in a minute that I just don't see between my two wings and the two guys that I have in the paint. Because the question, the one thing I wanted to ask, but then shied away from it because I feel like my team can play in any generation.
Oh, I
don't disagree. I don't disagree with that.
I almost put Karl Malone. That's how much I thought about that guy.
Like
too.
I was going to ask, like,
list,
are we talking about today's NBA, or are we talking
all
about
time.
all-time NBA?
All
Or are we
time.
talking about, hey, these guys are meeting up at a court in private and playing 5-on-5? Who's walking out of there?
Yeah.
That's kind of what my idea
exactly.
was.
Yeah. So Wilt Chamberlain's a guy was really heavy on my mind when I was making this list. Arguably one of the best centers of all time. We're going to get to that here in just a second. But you went Tim Duncan at the 4.
That's your power forward. Yeah.
So who did you go with at the 4?
I got my two forwards are LeBron James, Larry Bird. Those are my two forwards.
Pretty good. And listen, LeBron carried those early in his career, those Cleveland Cavalier teams. He carried them. They were going to the playoffs on his back.
And every one of my guys are guys that in their prime, when they were at the height of their abilities. This is how I do my team.
So this is where I think my team beats Jacob's team. He went with the big fundamentalist. Went with our guy Tim Duncan from the San Antonio Spurs. But listen, guy won championships, won MVPs, was solid. I went with the guy who's the other end of the spectrum. This guy also won an MVP, was a 12-time defensive player, all defensive team in the NBA, and it was Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett was aggressive and physical, and that was you watch those guys play head-to-head, who was the better player? It was Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett was good. Now, I'd take Olajuwon over him, but that's just me.
And we're leaving guys like Karl Malone, Dirk Nowitzki, and Charles Barkley off the list.
We're leaving all-time great guys off our teams here.
But Kevin Garnett was such an aggressive, fiery player, like that competitive. So up to this point, my team is definitely the most aggressive team.
Probably.
All right. Now the center position. Y'all probably get a laugh. I've got Wilt Chamberlain's the greatest center I ever saw. And I saw Wilt Chamberlain play. I saw Bill Russell play. I saw, the Diesel. I saw them all. I saw Kareem. Wilt Chamberlain's the best center I ever saw.
Yeah, I'm going Shaq. You give me Shaq with the Lakers, or you give me like the athletic version of the Shaq. Give me those in between years a little bit.
Give me those Orlando Magic.
Like you
bringing down the goal.
Yes.
Yeah, like I agree when he kind of got bigger and like lost his. But we're talking about at their prime. Give me Shaq. I don't care they can't hit a free throw. Because here's the thing: if we're playing a new age game, Michael Jordan's getting to the free throw line a whole lot more. They're going to allow him. Kobe's getting to the free throw line.
Oh, so we have to take now's officials? You're going to put that on us? You're going to put that evil on us, Ricky Bobby?
Well, no, because here's the thing. Again, I feel like my team transition, like it's across all of, they would be successful in any age of basketball.
All right, so who'd you go with center?
So my center, I really went back and forth here. I mentioned Wilt Chamberlain. He was the one that was really heavy on my mind doing this. David Robinson, the Admiral, really went back and forth, but I had to go with Shaq, my all-time favorite player. I think he's the most dominant and aggressive center. And so my game, what I was trying to do is put together the best team, not the best at each position, as I said. So my team plays aggressive. I'm thinking when we're officiating one of these games, I'm thinking like late 80s, early 90s basketball where we're beating each other up on the court a little bit. And that was my mindset putting this team together.
Don't sleep on Wilt Chamberlain not being aggressive. He was a very physical and aggressive guy too. He really was. But I remember I saw him play. That when he played back in the 60s and early 70s, I know that he didn't win all the rings that Bill Russell won. That's only because Bill Russell was on better teams. Yeah. Wilt Chamberlain is the better player. Wilt Chamberlain Bill Russell.
Wilt Chamberlain was a player.
I mean, averaged 50 points a game one year.
In more ways than one, he was a player.
Well, yeah,
he's a wild man.
We know about the off the court stuff.
Yeah, got to watch out with Wilt there, but yeah. So I'll go ahead. My team: Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Kevin Garnett, and Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay, I've got Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain.
Curry, Kobe, Jordan, Duncan, Shaq.
It's pretty solid teams.
Yeah, and I like the fact that like Kareem's not on there. Like it's like I think.
Oh, I know.
Like you like there's so many ways you can go with
the
this.
Skyhook was unstoppable.
It was.
Scottie Pippen's not on this list.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's there's been
Elijah won.
Yeah, there's been a lot of really, but here's the thing: if you don't like our teams, we want to know about it. We want you to comment. We
tell
want
us
to tell
we're idiots.
Yeah,
tell us we're idiots.
We want you to tell us where we're wrong.
We don't even have the logo on any of our teams. Jerry West.
Jerry West, the logo. That's exactly right. Yeah. So
Bill Russell. No one said Bill Russell.
I'm telling you, I mean, he was a great player, but I mean, how do you leave off Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Well, we all did.
Yeah, we did.
Yep, that's true. You want to take a quick break?
Yeah, listen, when we come back, we got to talk some Atlanta Braves right here on The Drive, ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line. Hardees is hiring. Join the Star Team. Flexible scheduling, daily pay, free meals, 20% family discount, plus paid vacation for part-time and full-time employees. Apply in-store or online at hardees.com today.
Hip or knee pain holding you back? There's a new reason to feel hopeful. Dr. Andrew Carlone is now part of the team at Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics in Cleveland. He brings advanced training in total hip and knee replacement, including minimally invasive techniques that get you back on your feet faster. Let Cleveland's orthopedic experts help you live your best life. Call 423-624-2696 or go to sportmed.com to book your visit now.
Cleveland Tire Center's 49th anniversary blowout with great specials every day, Monday through Saturday. A $200 gift card drawing every Saturday through July 3rd. Cleveland Tire Center, where the name said it all for 49 years.
Red, white, and blue saves you at Cleveland Ford. And you can get below Ford factory employee pricing. Choose a new 2024 F-150 and get up to $19,995 off MSRP. Or get the crazy Craig price on a new 2025 Escape, Explorer, or Bronco models. Make no payments for 90 days. Plus, all models come with a Weber grill. Visit clevelandford.com or come see us today and ask for Crazy Craig. Honest people, honest deals, and home of the $39 oil change. For well-qualified buyers plus tax, title, $799 closing fee on select models. See dealer for details. Offer in 7/7/2025.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
For over 100 years, Mayfield Dairy has been delivering farm-fresh dairy beloved by Southern families. In 1983, Mayfield introduced its iconic yellow jug to protect the milk from harmful light rays. Also protected the flavor in that nutritious milk. Learn more at about Mayfield today at mayfielddairy.com.
Do you know, I remember when Mayfield milk was in like regular mugs. I remember when they went to the yellow mugs, I was like, what in the world is this? Now I can't imagine them not being in.
Jacob, the way Jim's talked today, I feel like we need to bring like a walker in here for him.
I know.
I'm old.
He's got one of those like the little four handles with the tennis balls on the bottom. Like we're gonna have to get one of those. So
listen, that's the thing though. You're not like I want to give you some credit here. You come in here, you get excited, you bring the energy like Jacob and I do, and you got the ideas, but you've got the wisdom too.
Listen, I've got the age.
You're just making yourself sound old.
I feel blessed health wise. I do. I mean, I'm going to be 65 in December, y'all.
Dude, you don't look a day. Seriously, you don't look a day over 50.
But I'm telling you, I feel blessed, but there are days, guys, I wake up and, brother, I feel it. And I'm like, what the heck? Why am I so sore? I didn't even do anything. That's the bad stuff about getting old, y'all. You have aches and pains for no apparent reason.
Well, you earned that. You said you're about to be 65. I'm not far off 40, and I wake up like that too. I tell you what, terrible, man. Beat myself up too long.
And all the sports I played, and I'm very lucky. I've never had any hip issues or knee issues, and I'm knocking on wood as I say that, because I'm telling you, a lot of my friends have had hip replacement, knee replacement surgeries. I don't know why I haven't, because of all the sports I've played, I should have.
Yeah, good for you though.
Yeah,
hey, before we talk Atlanta Braves, Texas State set to join the relaunch of the Pac-12 in 2026. Tease that before we went to our last commercial break, and they went. This has been one of the things on social media. They went from being the Pac-12, that is, in the mix to land Texas, to they're celebrating landing Texas State.
I'll tell you what's funny. If you look at the new Pac-12, you got 8 or 9 schools in there. Every single one of them in the word state. Every single one of them. Texas State, Washington State, Oregon State, Boise State,
the state of the
Fresno
Pac.
State, San Diego State, San Jose State. They all end with state. It's the darndest thing.
It's the state of the Pac.
It's the state of the Pac, I guess.
It's kind of depressing. Like when you looked over at me and it's like you hear those names, like you just growing up. Like, and I'll be honest, dude, I was a huge fan of Pac-12 at night.
I loved it.
Like all these people be like, oh, they play so late. Like, I don't want college football to end.
Yeah,
I don't want it to
exactly.
be over. I don't want my Saturday to be over. So you're telling me I get to watch UCLA play USC at 10 o'clock? I'm fine with it.
Sign me up.
Give it to me. I will watch them until wee hours of the morning that my eyes can't hold up anymore, and then I wake up and I go to church the next morning.
What's so funny is that now you've still got those teams. They're just Big Ten teams. You got Washington playing USC at 10 o'clock, and it's a Pac-10 roots, but they're Big Ten teams now. It's the darndest thing, but you still got those teams playing that late at night, so they're just not Pac-12 teams.
Yeah, no, it's sad because that was like a fun memory for me.
Yeah, it was.
It's like an era of college football, I guess, like the Pac-12 at night, like that. We all knew, like when you referenced that, everybody knew what you were talking about, and you got some really exciting games out of it because they don't play a whole lot of defense.
I was a big time Pac-12 hater, although I did get enjoyment out of watching those games. Like I'd step and watch an Arizona State game or Oregon State Arizona game. I was all for it. I loved it.
And those, we talk about the rivalries here. There's no love lost between Arizona and Arizona State.
Yeah, not at all.
They do not like each other at all. And the same with Oregon State, and Washington State. Unfortunately, you got Oregon State, Washington State. We're not part of many major conference alignment, so they're gathering up all these lesser teams to create the new Pac-12. Listen, if you don't have the USCs and UCLAs, Oregon States, and Washington State, it's not the same league anymore. It's got the same name, just different league.
No, you're exactly right. Hey, last night the Atlanta Braves off, getting prepared to get things rolling. Trying to get going for this last leg of the homestand here before the All-Star break. Starting tonight, facing the Angels. Angels are third in the AL West, kind of in the mix. They're 41-42. The good news is a little change of starting pitcher. Grant Holmes towing the rubber tonight for the Atlanta Braves' first pitch at 7:15. He's taking on Tyler Anderson of the Angels. You'll be able to listen to that game on Mix 104.1 and right here pre- and post-game on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. So hopefully our Braves... listen, we're a day out from Jerks and Profar coming back to help this team out a little bit. He better do it because he owes it to this organization.
There's no doubt he's got to come through because they've paid this guy a lot of money, and he really put them in a bad situation with his lack of judgment.
Yeah, sure did. So, hey, after tonight, we'll get the show back up tomorrow, talk more Atlanta Braves in depth. Hopefully we got some good things to talk about. But once again, happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Gotta love Bobby Bo.
You've been listening to The Drive on ESPN Cleveland. Have a great day, everybody.
It's time for a Don Ledford of Cleveland traffic update on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Don Ledford Chevrolet Buick GMC, located on North Lee Highway in Cleveland. Or visit donledford.com for details. Don Ledford, where we say yes. It's on-time traffic with Commander Chuck.
Good afternoon. Heavier traffic just in the last few minutes in the construction northbound. 75 up by East Brainerd Road. Watching it build with that traffic volume northbound. 75 over White Oak Mountain. All that traffic making its way up through Bradley County this afternoon. Lots of radar up through there earlier, especially in the Charleston area. Hey, Eastridge Fast Lube, that's where I get my oil change. Go by and see them. There's 3 locations. They're online. Check them out. It's EastridgeFastLube.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
From the Alon Planning Partners Weather Center, here's your forecast on ESPN Cleveland 1013. Visit them online at alonplanning.com or give them a call at 423-315-1441.
A few evening showers and storms tapering late tonight. Overnight drop down to 70 degrees, and then sunshine all day on Wednesday with a high of 91. We'll see the humidity falling a little bit late in the day. On Thursday, mostly sunny, 91 degrees again. Friday, 4th of July, a hot one, 94 degrees. Should be clear for your fireworks on Friday evening. Then over the weekend, we stay in the low 90s with increasing humidity, slight chance of a shower or two. Download the Local 3 weather app, free for iPhone and Android. I'm Chief Meteorologist David Carnes for the Local 3 Storm Alert Team.
Your current Milligan Vane temperature is 82 degrees. MilliganVane.com.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
Listen to the Alon Exchange, hosted by financial professionals Jay and Brittany Hagee, owners of Alon Planning Partners. Each week they discuss all things financial and answer your questions about investing, preparing for retirement, paying down debt, and more. The Alon Exchange, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on ESPN Cleveland 1013. Don't miss the Paul Feinbaum Show, weekday afternoons from 2 until 5 on ESPN Cleveland 1013. Always topical, always entertaining. Paul Feinbaum on ESPN Cleveland 1013, presented by Hardees. When you need a new roof, it's all about trust. Your home is too big an investment and you can't afford to make a mistake. Cleveland Plywood has the products and expertise you're looking for. Contractors have trusted them for over 50 years, and they carry only proven products from reputable suppliers like IKO. IKO Cambridge is one of the heaviest weight asphalt shingles you can buy, and their limited warranties are among the industry's best. Protect the investment you've made in your home. Go with the pros at Cleveland Plywood, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland. Call 472-3357.
Hey guys, this is Dan Good from Crown. Just reminding you that Crown Jeep is Cleveland and Bradley County's Jeep headquarters.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 1013, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 1013.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
Needs a little more time. So they did make a trade. They acquired Hunter Stratton from the Pirates in exchange for outfielder Tyrus Dimitru and cash considerations, and he was optioned. Stratton was optioned to AAA Gwinnett. So.
All right. Well, Grant Holmes is up because I've never played, and I don't play this is the Vegas because the line keeps moving, and nobody wants to fight. I can say, I'll tell you, and you push a guy. I'll tell you, and then I'll be. Okay, I'm over being pushed or being the pushy or the pusher. So there's no more conversation in my mind about what's the biggest this and what's the biggest that. There is a clock, and it's now officially ticking. Now, it was ticking before July 1st, but it's officially ticking for me in this regard. You've passed the halfway point. We've done all the math about how good you would have to be to absolutely be a team within 1 week left of the season, 10 days left of the season, that you're in it because you've accumulated enough wins. There would have to be a ridiculous turn. I said Earth on its axis would have to turn, and then maybe turn another time on top of that to put this team in a position where they would win that many games, just doing the math of it. What's possible? Nothing unless they go on a streak. The Marlins have won 7 in a row. The Pirates won 4 in a row by 7 runs or more. The Braves have 3 games this entire year where they won by 7 runs. Pittsburgh's done it 4 days in a row. So my point is, if your best winning streak is a 4-game winning streak, and the Cardinals and the Twins and the Miami Marlins have all had longer winning streaks, this season has gone to crap in a lot of different ways. What are you going to do about it? It feels like today might be the day to start it.
It might as well be now. So Chris Sale now on the injured list. And we're talking about, late August when he would be eligible to come back off the 60-day. And then at this point, the ribs. We all know what happens with ribs. A time has to heal that. You can't.
Well, I won't
can't put a brace on it. You can't do anything other than let time go by.
Yeah, I won't do it on the radio network, but there's a B word attached to your ribs, and it's the stuff in between your ribs, and it is a bear to try to get back. And if you're doing anything where torque and rotation and breathing at times is a pain in the rear end and not fun for a little bit, then you have to add in the idea that you have to get your legs ready, you have to get your arm ready, you have to do everything to get back. Now it's up to him. My analogy has been everybody now has a bigger bucket than they thought they were going to have to bail water off this boat. If you want Chris Sale to matter, and let's just say it's September 1st, let's just go with it. Everybody around here has got to be better at their job to make sure that on September 1st, the possibility exists that him and whatever else it is you've done at the trade deadline, whatever else has turned around for this team, has been in play for a month in August, and now it's viable for Chris Sale to come back and try to push you through the finish line.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Braves Radio Network.
This is Atlanta Braves baseball on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 and W267BI Cleveland. Driven by Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland, cleveland-nissan.com.
Welcome back. Braves manager Brian Snitker sat down with Joe Simpson earlier today. Here is that conversation. It's the Brian Snitker Report.
Before we hit the field, let's get the latest from the manager. It's time for the Brian Snitker Report, driven by Akins & Winder. See all their great deals at akinsford.com.
Time for the Brian Snitker Report out here at Truist Park as the Braves begin a 3-game series against the American League West's Los Angeles Angels. And first of all, did you enjoy your off day as you suspected with your grandkids hanging around the pool yesterday?
No, we did. I spent a lot of time with Hank, and then we cooked dinner at the house when the brothers they had baseball tryouts. So, no, it was good, really good. Anytime you're with the family like that is fun.
Help you refresh and recharge a little bit?
Yep, exactly.
Hey, Brian, we were given